Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And today I bring you 10 of what I feel like are the more underrated cards in Spirit of Rebellion. The more I've been looking at this set, the more I'm impressed that there's all kinds of these cards that have sort of flown under the radar. I think there's going to be some slower decks out there, and that's, I think, what you're going to see today are some of these underrated cards. Number one, not in any order, is the Quad Jumper. This is the card that was universally panned when people saw this as being terrible. Now, I agree. If you're not running vehicles, this is a pretty terrible card. But I have a strong suspicion that with all of the ways to keep characters alive in the set, especially for heroes, we're actually going to see a vehicle deck that's reasonable. And Quad Jumper is amazing in this deck. The more I've played with Quad Jumper, the more I love it. Because how it works is, let's say you have 5 and you want to play the Falcon, and you have Quad Jumper in your hand. Well, what you can do is just roll out Quad Jumper, or just play Quad Jumper, roll it out, focus 2 of your other dice, take 2 shields, whatever, and then flip that into a Falcon. So the bottom line is, even if you had all 5 for the Falcon, you could still get value out of the Quad Jumper, and more likely than not, you're not going to have 5. It's hard to save up 5. But it's not that hard to save up 3, put out Quad Jumper, knowing now at the beginning of your next turn, no matter what they do, your very first action can be chuck the Quad Jumper for the 2 resources you just got, for a U-Wing, for a Launch Bay, for a Falcon, for whatever you want. I feel like Quad Jumper is actually exactly the card vehicle decks needed to make vehicle decks work. So I am very excited about Quad Jumper. I think it is a very underrated card, and I think if you play a vehicle deck, you're going to really, really love this card. Next up is a hero that I know I panned this hero. Chewbacca is not great. Just looking at him, he's not amazing. But what makes Chewbacca amazing is, if you look carefully at him, he's a pretty low 12 cost for 12 health. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. That is a lot of health. That'd be like saying Han has 14 health. That's not going to happen. So Chewbacca becomes the ultimate meat sack for yellow. So for me, in any deck that I'm looking at, just wanting to go crazy late game and putting a second chance and an ammo belt on a character, I always come back to Chewbacca and go, geez, for 12, I still have 18 more. I can have reasonable characters, single die each, do a 3-die setup, 3 characters, and have a Chewbacca that can't die and has a pretty cool die. Like, his die isn't blow you away amazing, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a damage, it's 2 damage, it's a little trick. So I like Chewbacca quite a bit for that staying alive archetype, which I think is going to be really real. Just stay alive. I dare you to kill my big meat sack with all kinds of way to keep him alive. So Chewbacca has this weird role, and I think because of that, he's been underrated. Another card that has been only a little underrated is Maz's Goggles. I know when we first saw Maz's Goggles, everyone was going, oh my goodness, this card is amazing. And then we saw the rest of Spirit of Rebellion, and everyone kind of went, Maz's what? Oh, ooh, it gives a focus. Yay. I want the Vibro Knife. I want all these amazing 3-cost weapons. But if you can build this sort of later game archetype, Maz's Goggles is really good on Maz. You play this on Maz, you put a second chance on Maz, and you go, all right, come get me. Maz is going to live a while. And every time you roll Maz then, the odds that you hit a focus so that you can, take one of your actions or one of your dice resolutions from Maz to be the focus, and then whatever you focus is your other one. It makes Maz even better. And I know she's fragile, but if you can keep her alive with second chance and ammo belt and things like this, Maz's Goggles becomes better and better. And I'm not saying it's, best card in the set or anything, but I think it's an underrated, good quality card. Another card that's really good and it's flying under the radar is Con Artist. And the reason is this. People originally looked at Con Artist and went, all right, it's a 2-cost upgrade. You put it on a character, that character dies. Okay, great. And it has to be a yellow character, right? So it's like, It's so limiting. Why would you play this card? It costs 2. I think this card is amazing. I think there is going to be a tier 1 hero mill deck as long as the ruling that came down that ammo belt second chance works. I think this will be an anchor to that deck. You just go Padme, Con Artist, second chance, ammo belt. Let's do it, right? If you get Con Artist turn 1 or turn 2, it's going to be so many cards from their deck. And then you combine that with Padme's ability, you could be chipping off, 4 and 5 cards pretty quick there, like on turn 2 and 3. And that's pretty crazy. And then what's so awesome about this card is it works great in that chipping away at the deck, and then it has a mill side. So you're just like, oh, now I have to clear their hand out. Cool. I've got Padme's mill side. I've got the Con Artist mill side. Let's do this. I really think Con Artist is a great card, and I love the fact that its other sides are disrupts. That is a menacing side. You're like, I roll Con Artist. Darn it, I missed. I guess it's just disrupt. And your opponent's going, what? That's all of my resources for the turn. So I think Con Artist is a very good card, and I think we're underrating it because we're sort of coming out of Awakenings and so focused on damage all the time. And I think there's going to be some decks that go other routes. All right. I have to find the other ones. Here we go. Lothcat and Mouse. Okay, so I know when I saw this card, I thought, yeah, that card does not look very good. I am not excited for that card. It's like a weird card. I have to give up a die to remove one of their dice. This card is awesome. This card is really, really good. The reason is it's especially good if you can roll out a lesser character as your first action, right? You just kind of go like, I'll roll Akbar, and if I get a resource, cool, I'm happy about that. And then if I don't, I have Lothcat and Mouse, and then what they roll their big beast, and then I get to remove my Akbar die, oh yay, and I remove their Vader die that rolled a 3, or whatever it is. I think this card is really good. It is a higher skill cap card that you have to really know how to use it, but a 0 cost remove any one of your opponent's dice card is insanely good. And I think not only is it underrated, I think this card could be one of, like the top 3 removals in the set, maybe one of the top 5 removals, top 3 removals in the game. Could be a top 10 card in the game. I haven't sat down and really parsed it all out. But this card is not just underrated, it's really, really good. You're gonna see a lot of this as people really hone in on what are the best removals. All right, so speaking of the combo I was talking about, second chance plus this card, ammo belt, is just absurd. It's so absurd. We all kind of went, it looks like maybe it works in the rules, but there's no way it could. There's just no way they would allow this to work. It's too broken. And we got a ruling from Lucas, via Facebook or something, or at the celebration. So it's not crazy official, and I could see them walking this ruling back. But the ruling is currently that, yeah, if someone pops a second chance, you get the second chance ability, you throw away ammo belt, second chance stays intact. That's insane. And there's 2 ways to look at that. The one way is to look at it is you get a 1 cost second chance instead of a 3 cost second chance, which is crazy. But the crazier way to look at it is a deck that's not running away to loop upgrades basically gets 4 second chances. And 2 of them only are 1 cost. So, again, like I said, with like a Chewbacca meat sack deck or a Padme with all this on her, it's going to be real hard now to just blitz through characters. And so on the one side, I'm really happy about this. It opens up all kinds of other alternatives. But on the downside, it feels like it's too much. It feels like it's too oppressive to expect any sort of damage deck to be able to peel through that much damage to be able to actually kill a guy. So I'm really worried about this combo. I'm assuming they're going to take a second look at it, and if they decide that they really do want to make it legal, it means they think there's ways through it. I'm not so well-versed with Spirit of Rebellion and every archetype in it yet that I feel like I can make a definitive statement whether it's broken or not. I will say this, though. I'm fearful that it's too good, and I won't be surprised if they walk back that ruling and say something like, well, it was the heat of the moment, I didn't really understand what you were saying, something like that. But that combo is crazy, and if it is, in fact, legit, ammo belt vaults way up. That second chance ammo belt is a deck, right? Like, that's the archetype. Is it a mill deck? Maybe. Is it a vehicle deck? Maybe. I don't know what it is, but second chance ammo belt is not only an archetype, it's one of, if not the best archetype in Spirit of Rebellion. All right, Swiftness. So Swiftness is one of these cards that makes Rey even better. So everyone, the reason I think it's underrated is because everyone jumped on the Vibro Knife bandwagon and went, oh my god, Vibro Knife is amazing. It fixes Rey in so many ways. And that's totally right. Vibro Knife is nuts. But you know what else is nuts? Is to have even more cheats in your deck. So now you get the Holdout Blaster, the Vibro Knife, and then you get Swiftness with Rey, basically giving another one of your upgrades, Ambush, to be able to use her ability again. When you have 6 cards in your deck that can give you that opportunity to take extra actions before your opponent can, that's really good. Like, that is very hard to overcome. It was different before when it was like, well, they got the Holdout Blaster. Oh, man. And then if they're playing yellow, they have the DL44 or whatever. And you're playing around those moments, right? And now it's just like, there's nothing to play around. Every single turn, they're doing this. And then if you can combine that with Force Speed and give you more actions, this is why I think there's going to be a tier Rey. It's not because of Holdout Blaster. It's not because of Vibro Knife. It's because of all of this confluence of cards that have come together a little too quickly. I would have loved to see Swiftness be in the next set, right? Like, maybe Rey builds slowly instead of just being like, boosh, all the Rey helpers in one set. So we'll see. I think it's underrated. I think it's amazing. I don't even think it's good. I think it's amazing. And I think we're going to see a lot of play with it. All right. I have to find the other cards here. Where are they? Okay. Here's one. Doubts. I feel like all removal in this set so far is being undervalued. People are looking at the flashy, awesome effects and upgrades. Doubt's really, really strong. Being able to reroll an opponent's die and then it goes away, that's crazy. So it's really amazing on a whole set of dice, like Lure of Power, the one that's all plus sides. Jetpack is really good on. If your opponent doesn't have a resource and something like rocket launchers on the table and, you know, they're about to get their resource, you just make them reroll rocket launcher and it goes away. There's just so many moments where this is going to be good. It costs 0. So again, this is kind of like Luthcat, where I feel like it's a higher skill cap removal card, but then they've rewarded you by making it so cheap. So 0 cost remove a die is just super strong. So I think this is another one of those cards that's being dramatically underrated, and we'll see a lot of play. Just a lot of play. All right, this is the card that you're going to say, Tiny, you're crazy. No one is underrating C-3PO. Everyone knows he's awesome. Shut your face. And that's true, but C-3PO is not just awesome. C-3PO is arguably top 3 card in the set. Now, I realize coming out of an Awakenings environment again, where the game is super fast, you look at 3PO and you go, okay, because he's too slow. Maybe he's too slow. And he is for like a tier Rey deck that just wants to blast away. But even that, I've been playing him with Poe, and being able to just turn Poe's die to that special is just crazy. This card is, it's just so good. It really, it might not just be top 3 card in the set. This may be top 3 card in the game. Like, it's that good. This C-3PO is just bananas good. If you're running a red deck and you don't have 3PO in it, just put him in. Just put him in. Like, he might not even fit the deck at all in any way. Just put him in and try him, and I guarantee you're going to go like, huh. Yeah, he's not an exact fit for this deck, but yeah, he's bananas and fits every deck because he's C-3PO. Why wouldn't he? So he's crazy good. You know, use your 3PO and love him. All right, the last card I have today for the list is Salvage Stand. I feel like Salvage Stand and Imperial Inspection are 2 cards that pretty much go together. Everyone's been talking about Imperial Inspection. Imperial Inspection is awesome, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. But Salvage Stand is really amazing as well. Especially when you get to, say, the mid-game and you have 2 of these out. You have the battlefield. You just roll. you just roll your dude with a couple upgrades on him, or just Unkar with no upgrades and his double resource die. It rolls out a resource, and bam, they lost all the resources for the turn. Process that for a second. They lose every one of their resources that they gained at the beginning of the turn. They have none. They cannot play an upgrade. They can't play any events. They can't do anything except for roll their dudes and hope that they get more resources. That is not just powerful, but that is incredibly powerful. Now, I realize you would need 2 to get this happen, and you have to have a roll. But really, it's just a very strong card that puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, even if you only have one of them, stripping away 1 every turn. And what's so cool, it's not like it's an initial roll. You do a re-roll, and then it gets to go. So it's just a crazy good card. I love it. It costs 0. I really think this, combined with Imperial Inspection, makes for a great foundation for an Imperial control deck. And this is what's exciting about this set. There's obviously lots of cool aggro decks. We've got the Ray meta. That's a real thing. That is a real thing. But we also have this Imperial control shell with this and Imperial Inspection. We have the hero meat sack archetype with the second chance plus ammo belt. That could be a mill deck with Padme. That could be a vehicle deck. There's just a lot of possibilities going into Spirit of Rebellion. Now, I know as the meta settles, this might all change. This was the same way with Awakenings. There were so many varieties of decks. I had my amazing control deck and mill deck, and then aggro took over and blasted everyone's face off. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Spirit of Rebellion. We'll see, but I'll be back soon with some more lists and some more card evaluations, and I'll see you next time on Tiny Grams Games.